Hi, welcome to another installment of the Leaderonomics show. Today I'm with Sean Lundon from the Everton Academy. Sean has been coaching there for about 12 years and has seen players like Wayne Rooney, Victor Anichebe, James Wan, and a host of other great players, including recently Jack Rodwell, break into the first team. Sean, welcome to Malaysia. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, how does Everton constantly produce such great players?
Well, I think initially we have good people out identifying
at an early age.
So
when do you identify the players?
Well, some of the players you mentioned there, obviously well documented they've been 6, 7, 8 years of age when he first came in. So the people actually identify them, take a lot of credit. And obviously once we do that, we're also able to recruit them then, because we've got competition from our local rivals to get these players.
Right. So once you get them on board, what do you do to them? Because I mean, a lot of EPL teams or BPL teams have academies, but none as successful as Everton. Especially in the ability to constantly produce. I mean, from Wayne Rooney to Jack Rodwell, and in between a host of other players.
Well, I think we create an environment whereby the players can develop. So it's a long process from 8 years of age to the first team. We look at 10 years. So I think we have an environment whereby they enjoy coming, which fosters good learning for them. So we have good coaches who can help bring out that talent and develop it. And obviously the players themselves, we try to push them along. So, and then players, obviously each challenge they get, they kick on. Like
Wayne Rooney, I know you mentioned before to me earlier on that you keep moving him up a category. So if he's 12, he plays 13 and so on and so forth.
So I mean, the best players, if we see a player at 12, say, and he's doing really well, then we wouldn't leave him there. We'd challenge him, we'd say, well, can he play up a year? And see how he does. And if he can adapt to that, someone like Wayne Rooney did, 30, and he said, well, can he play in the 15s? And he did. And then obviously, you're talking about a Wales star there. Every challenge that seems to be put in front of him, he grew, even from his England debut, when you think back 17, and he plays for England as though he was playing in the street, and that's why he's a top player.
Is there some other thing? I mean, is there a process or secret that Everton has, or it's just the consistency of doing things over and over?
Like I said, there's a secret to it. It's just we create an environment. I think everyone who works within the academy is passionate. They love Everton, they love football, they want to see the players develop. That's our job, and we managed to create a good environment for them to do that. And obviously, the talent has to be there, and then what we try to do is obviously bring that talent out.
Right. So it starts with talent, but it's more than talent, right? Because at the age of 6, 7, you really can't see how far this player is going.
Well, I think. As they're getting older, it becomes more mental game than, because if the talent's there, it does become, it's how tough they are mentally, really, that gets them up, to that next level.
Right.
Say the challenges that we put in front of them, and it is hard work. Our schoolboys, look at players who are 14 years of age. They come out of school for a day, they train 4 to 5 times a week, Saturday mornings, play Sunday. It's almost a full-time job as a 14-year-old, and they've got to show great commitment to do that, and so not only just turn up on them nights, but when they do, make sure they do the best every time they go out into the field.
Right. So I mean, if you get an 8-year-old, can you? I mean, because I guess like Malaysia, for example, and other countries, they kind of say, okay, can we take any 8-year-old? Or 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and then spend a couple of years, and will they become world class?
Yeah,
they will.
Well,
if you go through your process, right?
Well, it's if you've got the natural talent there, then obviously, at Everton we've been looking at the programme is in place, and as well the pathways there for them. So if they are talented and they do work hard, then at Everton there's an opportunity as well.
Right.
So it's not blocked for them.
Right.
Our manager's shown, consistently that if they're good enough, it doesn't matter how young they are, he'll put them in.
Right.
So you have to have that pathway for them to do it.
So you've got to create the pathway. You've got to keep pushing them. You got to keep growing them, forcing them through hard pain and work.
And ultimately, it's up to them. And obviously, for every Wayne Rooney, there's someone who falls away. But we say we've been fortunate that, because of the environment and the pathway that we created a coupled with the talent and the hard work.
Right. That
gives you that opportunity.
Everton is called the Everton Academy is called the School of Science.
That's right. Yeah.
Why the School of Science?
I think historically, from my memories, and growing up as a young Evertonian, the School of Science, and that was something that created in the 60s with the side we had, the Harvey Kendall Ball side. Yeah. I think that was known as the School of Science for the brand of football that they played.
And then since then, the academy has kind of taken on the mantle.
Yeah, well, I think our philosophy is the nil satis nisi optimum, which is nothing but the best. And that's what we try to do in everything that we do. We want to give the players the best opportunity. That's what it's about at the end of the day. It's about the players.
You've personally coached Wayne Rooney, James Wan, Victor Anichibi, and Jack Rodwell, and some other guys like Jose Baxter and a few others that are coming through the ranks now.
Yeah.
I mean, how is there a difference between these players and the ones that don't make it?
I think initially, the players you mentioned that I've worked with since they were 10, 11 years of age, they were always at the top end of the group.
Okay.
But you couldn't have said that at 10 they will be a player in our first team.
At that age you really couldn't tell?
Well, no, I think you could tell that they had ability, and they had something that may be different than the run-of-the-mill players, but they're still a long way from that 10-year-old with talent from being in our first team.
Right.
And obviously they gradually grow physically, obviously. As they're getting older, that's a bit like a box that needs to be ticked. They have to have the physical attributes that can play in the Premier League.
Right.
If they've got that with the talent, that's still not enough.
But even at 10, you can't really tell about the physical attributes, because they grow into that.
Yeah, but obviously you get an idea. Something that we spend a lot of time at Everton doing. You're always trying to project. Looking at the families, looking at them physically, and will they get the size? Will they get the speed that they're going to need? As they're getting older. So, you're always projecting that, and you look at someone like Victor as a 10-year-old, you always could see he was going to be a big lad, a big athlete, which obviously he is now. And then as they're growing, it's the mental challenges. It's can they keep the hunger and that they show in the natural enthusiasm.
And you help them with the whole mental thing also. Yeah,
obviously you try to do that. I think mentally. A lot of it in the end it comes down to them, how much they want it. We will set them the goals and we will try and remind them all the time about keeping the focus, and ultimately in the end it's can they do it at them critical ages, can they keep the focus when they need to, and carry on showing that hunger that gets them there. And then having got there initially, then obviously the top ones, you look at someone like a David Beckham, who, top player, doesn't need to be a footballer, but has that hunger and focus to still want to go out there and
keep practicing.
And that's what separates the top players, from the rest.
It's hard work,
it's that, it's that mentalist, it does become mental in the end.
Amazing. If you had kids now who aspire to be football players or Premiership level players, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think practice every day. So technically, obviously, at Everton we want our players to be technically good players who can play with both feet, and you only get that by practicing.
Okay.
And again, to remain focused. So listen to the coaches, listen to people talk about your diet, and listen when they say go to bed early, and and all them little things. Eventually, if you're doing that and you've got the talent and you get that bit of luck, you've got a great chance of being a footballer.
Right. So fantastic. Thanks so much, Sean. Really appreciate your time here. One last question: if I ultimately, if somebody wants to build another Everton Academy, say in another country, or a talent school like Everton, what are things that we should consider?
There's a lot of things that we talk about, and our academy manager Ray would talk about. He has the 4 Ps. The place. You've got to have ideally the facility, the infrastructure there. You've got to have the right people, the right staff, not just the coaches, but
the whole environment.
Obviously you've got to have the players, that initial talent, and then you need that pathway, you need that opportunity.
That's important, right? So, that pathway.
So without that, your players will get to a certain level, and if it's blocked, that's where they can fall by the wayside.
Fantastic.
So.
All right, so it's 4 Ps, interesting.
Yeah, that was something that Ray would say,
All right, we'll talk to Ray then.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much again, Sean. Hope you have a great time here in Malaysia, and appreciate you being on the Leaderonomics show.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you.
Cheers, Dom.